What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things box. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So let's get into the big news, the breaking news, the topic of discussion ever since I found out about this. It would have been last night. So, according to Mike Coppinger, Ring Magazine, there's been multiple articles written about this thing, and yeah, it's all over the boxing landscape. And that is that next year, 2026, we are finally going to get the fight that we've all been sort of waiting for between Anthony Joshua and Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. And as any of you will know that have followed boxing for a while, this is a fight that there's been, it's been talked about for years and years and years. Tyson Fury noticed Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua was still an amateur, and he admitted Anthony Joshua gave him a hiding in sparring back in the days. Um, and you've had Anthony Joshua talking about wanting to fight Tyson Fury. I think there was even Tyson Fury was even offering AJ the fight after AJ, just lost to Usyk. I think the first time or something, one of these things. So it's been in the air, it's been in the atmosphere. It's a fight that specifically British boxing fans have wanted to see for a long time, because these are two of our best heavyweights of this era. These are two of the best heavyweights of this era period. So AJ with his level of fame and notoriety, he's been unified heavyweight champ. So has Tyson Fury before him. So these are guys that have been at one time or another sort of the top dog in the heavyweight division. Those two alongside Deontay Wilder, these have been sort of those three massive names that we've all wanted to see. We've got to see Fury versus Wilder a couple of times, and that went one way, three times actually. But we've never seen Fury. Sorry, we never seen Joshua Wilder. We've never seen Joshua Fury, and for me, I must say I'm very happy about this news. This is a fight that I wanted to see for a long time. I think it is well past its sell by date. It is, both guys I would say are past their prime at this point, towards the end of their respective careers. But at the same time, as much as I would say that they're both past their prime, I would say that sometimes when you get two guys at a sort of similar stage in their careers, both towards the end, sometimes you do get the better fight. You do get good fights when guys are towards the end of their careers, and it's basically their sort of last hurrah. Sometimes you get good fights out of it. So I hope that's going to be the case here. As far as details of how this is going to happen, obviously, Friday coming, you're going to have Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. And Anthony Joshua's got to pretty much lay out and knock Jake Paul's spark out. That's what's expected. I think that's what will happen. And then following that, Anthony Joshua is going to have a warm-up fight with somebody who's, I suppose, I don't know, top 20, top 30, whatever type of opponent. Someone that's not a killer, someone just to sort of fill in a gap, just to give him a bit of a warm-up before Tyson Fury. And then Tyson Fury himself, obviously, he's going to be, it's going to be quite a while since he's boxed, coming up for next year. So he's going to also have an interim. That's the plan apparently with Turki Al-Sheikh. You're going to get both guys in warm-up fights the early part of next year. I think you're looking at around March, and then so both have their warm-up fights, and then towards the end of the year, last quarter, I think it's going to be September from the reports what I've been looking at. And I think according to Ring Magazine, if I'm not mistaken, you're looking at a September showdown. So you got Joshua versus Jake Paul, the kind of circus fight. He lays out Jake Paul. Then he goes into his warm-up fight, as does Tyson Fury, and then they'll headline a massive Riyadh season card towards the end of the year, that period around September, blockbuster fight. And I think as much as this fight's well past its sell-by date, it's, so a couple of years too late. For me, it will still sell out a big stadium. As far as venues for this fight, for me, as a British guy over here, I think it's something that really and truly should be taking place over here in this country, in the National Stadium, in Wembley. This is a Wembley Stadium fight. Should be taking place over here in front of 90 odd thousand, 95,000, whatever the record is. But for me, it's got to take place over here. But at the same time, I'm not naive, and I know that as Ring IQ on his channel pointed out, that at the end of the day, yes, we as Brits want to see it over here, and we've got reasons for that, and it makes sense. But the Saudis are the one putting the money up for this fight. Without Turki Al Sheikh and his backers over there in Saudi Arabia, this fight wouldn't be happening. And I'd as much as I'm happy this fight's happening, I have to admit that too. That I think without the influence of without that Saudi bag, we probably wouldn't have got Fury versus Usyk as and when we did, and we probably wouldn't be getting this fight either. So I think they're, in a sense, because they have the money and they're putting the money up, they do have the right to stage it in Saudi Arabia if they want to. Although, in my view, it makes much more sense to stage it in this country, in England, in our national stadium, because you're dealing with a blockbuster fight between two of the biggest names in boxing in general and two of the biggest names in British boxing. So I think it makes a lot more sense for it to be over here. And I think people over here will, obviously pay money to see it, to go to the stadium. You're guaranteed a sellout, you're guaranteed a packed out arena. And, I just think the whole thing makes sense more over here. But at the same time, the Saudis are the ones putting up the money. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put it on over there. Either way, I will watch it. But I think, they're within their rights to sort of stage it and host it wherever they want. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. When they talked about the interim fights, the warm-up fights, I always think, oh, that could be a banana skin. But at the same time, it's one of these things where if they, obviously Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul, that's gonna bring a lot of eyes to Joshua, and I think some in America don't respect him as much since he lost to Ruiz, and they can't see the fact that Ruiz was actually a very good fighter and he was a last-minute replacement. Those things factor in there. And I think, the Jake Paul fight will do a lot for Joshua with the American audience. And I suppose the interim fights, the warm-up fights for both guys, will bring them back into the public consciousness and will get people talking, will get people paying more attention. And then if that's all successful, then you get the big fight, then the whole thing makes sense. But let me know your thoughts, and until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out. Catch you next time.